Hi family, welcome back into our channel. I hope today brings you well. I hope and I'm praying diligently that you are remaining encouraged. I pray that you're remaining empowered. Thank all of you for what you do on our channel. Every single one of you, every day, all of your prayers. Your acts of kindness, all of your support. I am so elated with all of the prayers and the well wishes that you are sending this way. We send all of those things right back to you. You cannot forget what God has done for you. You can't. Don't ever forget what God has done for you. You can't forget it. You can't forget these things because at some point in your life, in all of our lives, we are going to be dealt a hand where God wants us to recall how he blessed us, how he encouraged us, how he healed us, how he delivered us, how he brought us out. You can't forget the goodness of God. You can't forget how you were in bondage and God delivered you. It doesn't matter how long we've been there. It doesn't matter how long we go through. It doesn't matter what trial we face. It doesn't matter, family, what tribulation that we face. God doesn't want us to recall just that. He wants you to remember when you get in a tight space, when you get in a tight spot, when you can't see your way clear, when you don't know how the way is going to be made. God wants you to remember his goodness. He wants you to remember his mercy. God wants you to remember his delivering power because he's not going to do this thing by might, but not by power. He's going to do it by the Spirit of the living God. You have to remember. You must remember whenever you go through. Because if the God of our forefathers, of Abraham, of Isaac and Jacob, don't you all know if God made a way for you once? Don't you know God is going to make a way for you again and again and again? See, we got to be so careful because it's always Satan. It's always the devil that wants us to believe that God would not do it for us, that he did it for us then, but he's not going to do it for us again. See, if you're not careful, what you would do, you're going to get your hands involved in things that you shouldn't because you don't have patience to wait on God. This is why so many people are dealing with witchcraft and they call themselves Christians. They call themselves believers because they don't trust God 1000%, because God might be moving too slow for you. God moves at his own pace and he's not going to do anything outside of his will. He's not going to do anything outside of his timing. Don't ever forget that. And don't allow the devil to tempt you to deal in the darkness. Don't allow what you face or the possibility of what you may face cause you to walk in the darkness. Don't allow your hands to be dirty and to fondle and to play around with darkness. Whenever you play around with darkness, especially when you call yourself a child of God, you will bring a curse upon you. You will bring a curse upon your children. You will bring a curse with everything with your name on it. And some people are experiencing this. They're wondering, what is going on in my life? Why am I experiencing setback after setback after setback, after delay after delay after delay? It is because, and it's a high possibility, that you have a form of godliness, but you are desiring the truth. You have a form of godliness, but that power that is within you, you are not portraying that true power. Believe God right now. I want you to share this video with somebody. I want you to put this video on repeat. Every time that you get low in your spirit, every time you don't think the way is going to be made for you, I want you to listen to this over and over and over again. Because God wants you to remember who he is. He wants you to always recall what he did for you. Because if he did that for you once, God is going to do it for you again, family of God. This is why God takes us through so many things. This is why God will deliver you when you're in a tight spot. And when you don't think you're going to get out of that place, when you think this is how your story is going to end, God said, He said, you remember when I brought you out before and when you thought the same thing? Haven't you ever gone through something you thought you were never going to get out of it? I have, family of God. Haven't you gone through so much hardship and pain in your life that you thought this was how your story is going to end? I have. And I'm a living testimony. This is a sign of the enemy, family of God. But it's a true indication from God that he's going to deliver you, that he's going to snatch you up out of the pit that you are in. God wants you to recall his power. He wants you to recall his faithfulness, family. Whenever you get in a place where it's just all darkness around you, remember the vision that God showed you. Remember your dreams. Remember your visions. You can't forget it. Keep these things in the forefront of you. Keep them right in front of you, because these are the times you're going to need them the most. Whenever you get low, whenever you get down in your spirit, whenever your faith is on trial, whenever your faith is being tested, you need to bring that vision before you. And you need to always remember what God did for you. Why do we need to remember what God did for you and I? Because we are going to be tested. We're going to be tested by God, and we are going to be tempted by the devil. He's going to bring us temptations. And it's in those times that we all must remember. We all must recall what God did for us. You all hear me today. You remember what God did for you. It doesn't matter where you are right now. It doesn't matter what you're experiencing. God said, you remember what I did for you last week. He said, you remember what I did for you yesterday. You remember the breakthrough I gave you today. And when you didn't think it was coming, when you didn't think your help was going to be there, but God said, I know I came a little slow for you. He said, but I'm always on time. God is never late. It doesn't matter how long we think he should have been there. God's timing is perfect. And he's never going to do anything for us outside of his will. And he's not going to do it outside of his timing. And in these times where you are sowing your seeds, where you are in the presence of God praying, and seeds doesn't mean just a financial seed. If God leads you all to do that, wherever he tells you to do it. But in those times, God wants you to not to doubt. He don't want you to doubt, family. Don't keep doubting. Don't doubt God's love for you. Don't doubt his faithfulness to you. And don't doubt God's power for you. And don't doubt if God has respect of person, because he doesn't have respect of person. People have respect of persons. Haven't they proved that to you? They have respect of person, but God doesn't. And he wants you to know, to remember. Remember him when you're going through. Remember him, family, when you were in a place that you thought you was going to die in. He said, remember that place. He said, remember how I brought you out. Don't just recall how long you stayed in a place. Don't do that. Because it's going to cause you to fear. It's going to cause you to be anxious. We all go through. It doesn't matter how much power we think we have, how anointed that we think we are, how creative that we think we are. It doesn't matter how God uses any of us. We are all going to go through hell at some point. We're all going to be tempted. Does it mean something's wrong with us whenever we go through? No, it does not. God has us in the fire to purify us. And whenever we come out of this, we're going to be more like him. God wants you and I to know when we are in the fire, he's in the fire with us. And when we come out of this fire, when you come out of this, you're going to be so much more powerful. You're going to be stronger. You're going to be better. You're going to be wiser. You're going to be more creative. Your creative juices are going to increase. Your creativity. You know, the Bible tells us with the Spirit of the Lord, there is freedom. There is liberty. Get in the presence of God, because in his presence, there's fullness of joy. There's everything that you need and that you're desiring to be. You're supposed to remember. Where are you having a tight spot today? What are you going through with today? God's telling you to remember. He said, remember what I did for you before. Remember. Don't forget it. Don't ever forget it. Don't put it on the back burner. The things that God did for you, don't put it on the back burner. You recall these things and you put these things before you when you're in another trial. When you're facing another dilemma, when you're facing another problem, God said, you remember what I did for you before. Why wouldn't he deliver you again? Why wouldn't he bring you out again? Why wouldn't he heal you? Why wouldn't he deliver you? Why wouldn't he make you whole? Why wouldn't he make you complete? Why wouldn't God restore you? He is going to restore you, but he's going to do it in his own timing. God is going to do whatever he needs to do for you in divine time, and wait upon the Lord, because when you wait upon God, he's going to renew your strength. You're going to run And you're not going to give up. You're not going to faint. But you're going to mount up like wings of eagles. That's what God is going to do for you. So I pray today, whatever you're facing, remember what God did for you before. Why don't you affirm that? I am going to keep the vision before me. I am going to remember what God did with me before. I am going to recall what God did for me before. He's going to do it again. He's going to do it again. God is never going to leave you in the hands of your enemies. Never. God is in the heavens laughing at your enemies right now. He's laughing at your enemies because he knows the plans that he has for them. They're laughing at you, but God is laughing at them because God knows what they're devising against you will never prosper. God knows that what people are trying to do against you, family of God, what Satan is plotting and ploying against you, God knows it'll never reach your household. God said it'll never come nigh your dwelling place. You got to believe God. We got to believe God from the beginning to the end. We don't deserve any blessing that God gives us. We don't. And it's not about if we deserve it. It is your birthright to be blessed. It is your birthright to be happy. It is your birthright to succeed. It is your birthright. So walk like it, act like it, talk like it, think like it. You are powerful. You are powerful people, and don't you ever forget that, family. Never. Never forget how powerful that you are. And I pray today that all of you will recall the things that God has done for you. Recall these things. Whenever you get in a tight spot, recall the goodness that God has done for you. This is what you remember whenever you face a dilemma. Whenever you face a problem, you remember how God made a way for you. He's going to make another way for you, family. Reach out and share this message. Put this message on repeat and keep listening to it over and over and over again until it builds up your faith. God is telling you today, remember what I did for you before. God said, I see where you are. I know how long you've been there. He hasn't forgotten you. I am here today to let you know God has not forgotten you. It doesn't matter how long you've been waiting. You're not waiting in vain. This is what I want you all to know. You are not waiting in vain. You're not. Your enemies are waiting in vain. They're waiting on you to be literally destroyed, but they'll keep waiting until the day of eternity come. You will not be ultimately destroyed. You won't. God said, remember what I did for you before. He said, I'm the same God. Listen at that promise he gave us. He said, I'm the same God yesterday, today, and forevermore. And don't you dare forget it. You all hear me? I love you, family. Don't forget what God has done for you. God said, I'm going to do it again. I love you here. We love you so much. We're praying for you. Thank you for supporting the book. Thank you for all of your positive comments from that book. Thank you for your testimonies. Thank you for letting me know how much you appreciate the encouragement and the motivation that I give you. I've been preaching the gospel for 20 years. So I preach the apostolic doctrine, Acts 2:38. This is what I believe in the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus the Christ. Yahweh, Yeshua, HaMashiach. This is what I preach. But God called me to this channel to empower his people. So this is why Prophetess Nikki is here. I preach the gospel. God has blessed me to run revivals. But he asked me to get on social media and to encourage you, to empower you, to give you confidence, to give you a voice that you already have. You have a voice. So let the world hear you. Let hell hear you. I love you. We'll talk later, family. If it is God's will. Thank you for your super thanks. Thank all of you for your cash apps. Thank all of you so much. I love you so much, family. Keep going and remember what God did for you. He's going to do it again. Wait on him. Wait. Wait on him. Don't give up. Don't get your hands involved in things you shouldn't, because you're going to make a mistake. Move when he tells you to move. Sit when he tells you to sit. Listen to that still small voice, because it's going to be the Spirit of the Lord that's going to lead you. Where is he going to lead you? He's going to lead you to a good place. He's going to lead you. He's going to make all of your crooked places straight. He is going to do that. God bless you. We'll talk later. The devil don't have nothing on you, family. Nothing.